Yo, what's up guys, hope you guys are doing good. So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto had purple lightning bloodline, part 3, hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start please subscribe to our channel and like this video. So let's get into the video. Naruto and his teammates were waiting for the signal to enter the forest of death. He was mulling over the first exam. It was rather interesting what he accomplished, how different and improved the others were due to his actions. Some of them at least. Flashback. The moment they entered the room, Ino launched herself at Sasuke, which brought to the surface Sakura's lingering fangirl. This led to a series of bitching, which he promptly ignored. He was too busy looking at the students he graduated with. He was saddened to see that only Hinata, who he hated, had gotten stronger by any real leap. She was massively stronger. At least high Chunin at this point. She had been low Chunin-ish before. It was quite the development. But what really stuck out was her massively higher sense of self. Her previous lack of it was what made her a lot weaker than she could have been. It seems that he was right about Anko. Hinata even looked different. She was wearing a black tight outfit. With a tight black grey hoodie. It should have looked bland, but for some reason she looked gorgeous. But what struck him most was her eyes. They no longer held fear and self-loathing. But strength and fierce determination. She was a changed woman. He could not wait to actually watch her fight. That was the reason he had not spied on her since he gave his suggestion. Though, as her chakra was a lot richer in feeling, he knew she was a medic now. Or on her way to one. Either way, he was extremely excited to watch her fight. Naruto was forced to pay attention to everyone else when Sasuke began to ask Kabuto for information. Naruto was shocked to hear that Sasuke did not ask about him. Well, it probably helps that Naruto snuck a bingo book open to his page in Sasuke's bedroom. Naruto was interested as he heard all about Gaara never getting a scratch on any mission and Lee's massive taijutsu skills. All stuff he knew, after all he gathered the knowledge. Not a second later a huge puff emanated from the front of the room. From that cloud was a group of several Chunin and Ibiki Marino, the mind rapist. Naruto liked this guy, he did not have an ounce of trust for Naruto. That is why he liked him. The guy was smart. The test itself was a simple matter. It was based on a combination of interrogation resistance and intelligence gathering. It was fun, but Naruto was not swayed at all. In fact, no one he graduated with were all that affected, a true surprise if there ever was one. So Naruto took advantage. Sending a gust of wind that knocked papers away, putting people under to make them see no answers on their papers, and even setting a few papers ablaze. It was fun and thinned the competition a bit. After all, you can take a test with no paper. Once they passed, Anko Mitarashi burst through the window and led them to the second test. Now here they were waiting to go into the forest. Naruto was forced out of his daydreaming when Anko chucked a kunai at him. He let it hit him in the chest. He fell to the ground bleeding. Everyone looked at him in fear as he bled out. Hinata, Lee and Anko just rolled their eyes. "You can get up now, kid," Anko said, rolling her eyes. Everyone looked at her as if she was insane when Naruto's body burst into black rose petals. He appeared behind the snake using a pout on his face. "But Anko, I was having fun. Why did you hit me with that kunai anyway?" Everyone then looked at him instead. Anko just rolled her eyes. "Well kid, if you actually got hit with it then you would be totally undeserving of your reputation. Now get into your teams." This last part was said with a yell. Everyone got into their teams as they were given the go. Team 7 launched into the forest. Naruto turned to his team and said, "Listen, I am going to go and search for a scroll. I will meet up with you later. Don't worry about not being hard to find you. I am a censor, you guys are hard to miss." But that Naruto left his team, leaving a seal-powered water clone in the shape of Kit to protect them. After all, it would not do if his investment died with Sasuke. And Sakura could end up being a challenge to fight if she gets her act together, so he needed her alive. But Naruto wanted to mess with Orochimaru, so he needed to meet up with a few people. The first person on his list was Karen Uzumaki. Her chakra was extremely easy to find, as she was an Uzumaki. From what he could tell, she had been abandoned by her teammates. Perfect, he gets someone to kill and some to manipulate. What a beautiful day. Naruto set a course for his teammates. Once he got into range he saw that they were two boys. Both wearing a grass headband and an arrogant look on their face. This made Naruto scoff, their chakra screamed at how weak they were. He did not even give them a chance. He sent a single pulse of homicidal rage. He sat back to watch them as they began to fight each other. It started with jutsu and taijutsu but quickly degraded into a bitch fest. They ended up stabbing each other to death with kunai. It was really sad. Wow, they were weak. Even Sakura would have been able to resist that power of his. Shaking his head he went to find Karen. When he did he saw her cornered by a large bear. This presented a large opportunity. Swooping down he grabbed his sword and with a single flourish sent a blast of wind energy. Slicing the bear in half, right down the middle. Landing in front of the girl, he sent her a large smile, and, as soon as he felt her beginning infatuation, he used his empathy to enhance it many times. He almost giggled at the look of her large blush and the scent of her arousal. Extending a hand to her, he said, "Hello little Uzumaki, are you alright?" She nodded as she blushed even further. Naruto bent down to her and placed his hand over a small gash on her stomach and began to heal it. She blushed even further. When he was finished, he said, "Well, all done. Now why don't you head to your team? I am sure they are worried." She frowned but said nothing. So he sent a tiny burst of compulsion to persuade her to talk. "I hate them. They treat me like garbage just because I am not a frontline fighter." Shocked by her admittance, she stopped talking. Naruto took advantage of that. "Well then, they are fools. I can tell you are a censor from your chakra. That is a very useful tool. They clearly don't appreciate a woman of talents." At this she nearly fainted but gave him a grin and got up to go to her team. "I don't sense them. I think they are dead. I guess I don't need this." She handed him her scroll. It was an earth scroll. She then turned around and gave him a swift kiss to the cheek before launching off. Naruto grinned an Anko grin. The girl had a major obsession growing in her now. It was only a matter of time. Done with it, he leapt to his next target. Hinata. He stopped for a second. It seems Team 7 had company. As Naruto was leaping through the forest, killing any team he saw along the way, the rest of Team 7 was now fighting a strange woman from grass. She started the fight by blasting them with a massive wind attack. Then she paralyzed them with fear-inducing killer intent. After that, Sasuke had been forced to stab himself in the leg before grabbing Sakura and running away. As they hid, Sasuke had his hand over Sakura's mouth to keep her quiet. She started to struggle, but his massive fear prevented him from noticing. Eventually she grabbed his hand off and screamed, "Snake!" Sasuke turned around to see a huge snake sneaking up behind him. His only thoughts were, how the hell did I not notice this? The snake then stuck at him as Sakura screamed. Naruto found himself sighing as he killed his 7th team. Seriously, he was in the Bing book as a low S-rank ninja. You would think that these weaklings would at least know what they were dealing with. But no, they just had to attack him. And now Hinata was in the tower. Oh well, he could deal with that later. But it seemed the kid was about to intervene and protect his teammates. After all, with all the chakra that Orochimaru was leaking, it was a miracle that no one in the village sensed him. So he turned to head it over to his team. It was really a miracle the idiots were still alive. Orochimaru grabbed Sasuke by his throat and chuckled at the boy. He was truly disappointed. It was true the boy was skilled, but he was so stunted that it was sickening. Shrugging mentally, he bit the boy on the throat. As he did, he tossed his future vessel at the screaming pink thing. Just as he was going to say something witty, he was forced to dodge a huge ray of purple lighting. Oh, that's how it was. A false look of fear on his face as Kid Uchiha came into the scene. Without looking back to the kids, Kid said, "Girl, take the brat and go and hide. Naruto will be there shortly." Said Banshee just nodded and leaped away to protect her precious Sasuke. Well kid, it seems we must fight for the sake of our agreement." Kid chuckled. "Yes, we must. It will give this shithole of a village a good scare at the massive chakras battling." The snake Sandin grinned at that and launched forth a huge wave of snakes. Kid responded with a wave of lighting energy from a sword swing. Orochimaru leapt at him, sword drawn. Kid met him blow for blow, both releasing high amounts of chakra and killer intent. Orochimaru summoned a huge snake and sent it after Kid. Kid just rolled his eyes and sent a huge wave of black flames at the snake. The creature writhed for a moment before poofing away. After a few minutes they ceased fire, grinned at each other, and left to go do what they pleased. While that battle was going on, Sakura was leaping through the trees, trying to get Sasuke to safety. After she landed and put the Uchiha on the ground, she was met with the sound of someone landing behind her. She quickly drew a kuani and turned around and was shocked to see Naruto. He was holding her kunai back with a finger, one eyebrow raised. "Sakura, what happened? I sensed a massive foul chakra near you before." Sasuke's signature became muddled. The girl looked ready to burst into tears but answered firmly, "We were attacked by Orochimaru. He kicked the shit out of us before biting Sasuke on the neck. There is a strange mark there." Naruto walked over with her. She showed him the mark. "Ah, a curse seal. It is one of the most amazing seals in the world. It actually contains a potion of Orochimaru's soul. It is a thing of beauty." Sakura looked appalled but ignored that and asked, "Can you get rid of it?" Naruto shook his head. "No, it is why it is so dangerous. It is still linked to the man. If I try, it will kill him. Right now it is linking to his chakra network and spirit. The most I can do right now is heal his injuries and hope he lives." Naruto lifted his shirt and placed a hand on the boy's stomach. A pulse of chakra later and Sasuke was glowing green. Sakura watched in awe as Sasuke's entire body healed at a rapid pace. "How the hell did you do that? I thought that you had to heal one injury at a time. You healed his entire body and restored his chakra at the same time." Naruto laughed at her. I sent my medical chakra directly into his chakra core. It spread from his core and healed his entire body as the network is intertwined with the entire body. He will be fine. Now lift your shirt. Sakura nodded, then lifted her shirt to show her stomach. She may not like him very much, but she still respected him as a ninja. She may be Sasuke obsessed, but you had to be blind or stupid to not notice the skill. Naruto placed a hand on her belly and healed her as well. She was shocked to feel extremely tired all of a sudden. Naruto noticed this and explained, but the healing you stopped pumping adrenaline. You are crashing now, so sleep. I will take a watch. I'll wake you in 4 hours. She did not even answer as she collapsed. Naruto chuckled and carried her over to Sasuke and just for fun, laid her on his chest. He then placed a hand on her head and started to help her out. He took a dive into her mind. Naruto was astonished at the sight of her mind. It was not right at all. She had a split persona. He could see that the only thing that attacked her sane was her obsession with Sasuke. It kept her from total mental collapse, yet distorted her views on reality. She actually was unable to see things clearly. On one side was a dolled-up version of the Sakura he knew, the brains, and socially on the right side, this area was the color of Sakura's hair. The other was a foggy dark blue side that seemed to be her carnal side, the part of her which served as her animalistic side. Sakura was linked to a large effigy of Sasuke in the middle by hundreds of thin black chains, while the carnal side only had one thin black chain linking them together. He would have to fix that. This made him shake his head. She should have been tested a long time ago. This was extensive damage. But he could fix it. The first thing he did was create more links between her id and ego, the professional names for the two sides that were separated in this girl, by unlinking the chains and linking them to different ideals she had in her head. Desire to serve her village, to train, to better herself, to fulfill her goal to be an extremely powerful kunoichi, her massive thirst for knowledge, to feel useful, to beat Ino at more than Sasuke. These were the ideals of her that he used to link the two sides with the thin black chains. He actually took them from the surroundings of the Sakura he knew and placed them in the middle to act as points of connection. He was amazed to see the two sides actually begin to bleed together. Just as it was supposed to be. Just as he was about to implant several suggestions, he was assaulted by a huge blue fist. He dodged it and was stunned to see a huge blue version of Sakura with the kanjis for inner Sakura on her forehead. It seemed she was the manifestation of what was left of her connection to her ego, born from her obsession with Sasuke. She growled at him. Naruto got the hell out of my head before I pummeled you. Naruto just rolled his eyes and with a squeezing of his fist caused inner Sakura to burst into blue spiritual energy. He condensed her energy into a ball and threw her back into the blue misty side and watched as she reformed, drawing the mist back together into a much larger version of herself. He covered her in black chains that lead to the ideals in the middle. Just as the Sakura side he knew was covered in the same chains that linked to the ideals. He was shocked to see the chains begin to pull the two aspects of the girl closer and closer together. A silvery avatar of the girl forming in the middle. It seemed that she was becoming whole for the first time in a long time. He then started to place his suggestions. Basically they added up to growing the fuck up. When he killed off the village he wanted it to be fun. It would also help to prove that the clans were idiots and causing the stagnation of everyone. Satisfied he left. Looking around he was pleased to find that Sakura's chakra signature had already changed. It was much stronger, more self-assured. Darker. Oh, he could not wait till she snapped back at Sasuke, now that he was not the only thing keeping her sane. After a few hours Naruto woke Sakura up and took a nap, never telling her about the sound team coming after them, nor the seals he placed on Sasuke while she slept. Naruto was in his mindscape, having the most interesting battle against himself in shogi when he was pulled out. Getting up he saw something he did not expect. Kin, a girl from Sound, had been pulling a beat-up Sakura's hair and insulting her, at least until Sakura snapped and hit Kin so hard in the face that she went flying, knocking her teammate Zaku and herself through a tree. It seemed that, from what he could sense, her chakra control was so much better now that she was able to subconsciously use the first stage of Tsunade's super strength. Naruto got up and walked out to the clearing. Well, what do we have here? There was a squeak of terror from the Sound team, they could not talk, just sputter in fear. Dosu walked forward, terrified out of his mind, and said, "We leave, sir." He was shivering, Naruto could smell the absolute and utter terror wafting off of him. "Very well, however, if I see you before the tower. Well, it won't be pretty. Am I clear?" The last part was said very slowly. With a smile on his face. Nodding, Dosu grabbed Kin and Zaku then took off with them on his shoulders. Smiling, Naruto turned around. Only to see Team 10 looking at him with shock, fear, and arousal. Ino was feeling all three as she was a sensor, so she could feel the raw amount of extraordinary chakra he had. Shikamaru was shocked to see Naruto being so dark, and Choji was shocked as well. Naruto had always been so nice. Hello Team 10, as much as I enjoy our little meeting I have to go. Naruto disappeared, as did Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto landed in front of the tower, Sakura and Sasuke on his shoulders. He let Sakura down, and both entered the tower. Naruto tossed down all of his scrolls. Iruka, Gemma, Hade, and Radio appeared from the scrolls. They were stunned to see Naruto. How the hell did you get all of these scrolls? They all said at the same time. Naruto rolled his eyes. Check the first 5 pages of the bingo book. Now Sasuke has the curse seal, and Kakashi seals it. With that Naruto flashed red and was gone. Naruto entered his realm. Only to be forced to dodge a fist. He leapt back, shock covering his face, as he saw a living myth, the Crimson Princess. Mito Uzumaki. How the hell are you alive? The woman smirked at him before suddenly being in front of him with her fist in his gut. He was launched through 3 islands. The fight continued for a while. Naruto was amazed, not only was she a goddess in terms of seals, but her skills in Taijutsu was miles ahead of anyone ever. She was able to mix immense speed with near Tsunade level strength. It was amazing. But what got him was her reflexes. She was able to react to everything he did. She eventually stopped the fight with a raised hand. Very good Naruto. You are far stronger than I was at your age. I am extremely impressed. Now, as for how I came back, I believe your mother had something to do with that. She used your seal, which was amazing by the way, and sacrificed some people she had captured on her bounty raids. Naruto nodded, his mother was amazing and sneaky. Still this was awesome. I see you have met. Kushina said, as she appeared, as if answering his thoughts. Naruto turned to her. So when and why? Looking mischievous she answered, well, I remembered you wanted to bring her back. So I summoned her and explained what was going on. Mangekyo helped a lot with that and she agreed to help us. Yes I did, Mito began. I am ashamed of what has happened to the village, but I am not surprised. I warned Hashi that this would occur, but he was so soft. That was the past, and this is the now. I will aid you, starting by teaching young Fu Taijutsu, as well as teaching that other girl over there. She was pointing to Yakumo's island, which was under A. Not even bothering to ask, as he knew she was an incredible sensor, Naruto said awesome, that would be great. I could also spar against you. Kushina, you should spar against her to keep your skills up, there are not many people of your level after all. Kushina gave a terrifying grin before slashing at Mito with her sword. Mito blocked it with a kunai, and the two went off to spar with a sadistic grin on their faces. Naruto just chuckled at their behavior, they were just big children. 3 days later Naruto and all of the surviving teams were all in the preliminary room, listening to Sarutobi's speech. Naruto just ignored all of the old man's speech, all of the while fangirling inside of his mind. He could not wait for Hinata to fight. He wants to see how far his subject has gotten. It helped that he would be able to hurt the people who abused him. This would be great. Naruto, not really paying attention, went to the stands when everyone else did, completely ignoring the matches aside from a few. Hinata vs Dosu. Hinata stood there until they were given the go and in a flash of movement grabbed Dog's head and splat. Smashed it so hard against the wall that it burst. She, not covered in blood, walked up the stands. Pleased that she gave none of her skills away. Kurenai was appalled, where did this vicious assassin come from? Where did the timid little girl go? She heard Naruto chuckle. Now that was hot. The Jinjutsu using Jonin turned and glared at him. It was wrong, she did not have to kill him. Rolling his eyes, Naruto gave his opinion on the matter. Actually she did, if she did not want to give away all of her skills. So what she did was truly smart. Kurenai went to smack him, but was all of a sudden glassy-eyed. She came with a look of horror and a shiver. She just saw Hinata, Kiba, Akamaru, and Shino tortured to death in the most horrible ways. It was horrible. Naruto smiled, he loved Jinjutsu. It showed a person's worst fears in relation to a loved one. It was a deviation of hell's viewing. He made it. Hinata, who had made her way up to the stands at this point, saw what Naruto had done and a smile came over her face. Anko smiled. She had come to have little respect for Kurenai. She was a shitty teacher, as well as a smothering mama bear where she should have a backbone and teach her students properly. Anko was another story. Neji vs Choji. This went by really fast, as well. All that happened, Neji dodged the human bowling ball thing and hit a few chakra points. Quick and easy. As Neji made his way up he glared at Hinata who just rolled her eyes, she was not intimidated at all. She had faced a bloodthirsty and horny Anko in the forest of death, there was no force on this earth that could frighten her. Neji was not even on her radar. Sakura vs Ino. It started out as a bitch fight, but when Ino bitch slapped Sakura the girl hit her so hard that Ino was a part of the wall. Stop with the kid gloves, Ino pig. Sakura then walked up to the stands muttering dark threats and flaring a large amount of killer intent. It seemed that the damage to her mind was going away. This was good. she might become a powerful ninja. Next was Naruto vs Kiba. Naruto ignored Kiba's taunts and such, especially as Akamaru had fainted when he realized who he had to fight. Kiba, you might want to quit, with Akamaru you are kind of useless. Well, more useless than normal, if that is possible. Kiba obviously got pissed and began to swipe at Naruto, who dodged everything. Kiba started to scream at him. You fucking coward, I will kill you. Naruto rolled his eyes. I will kill you then become Hokage, I will steal your dream. That has never been my dream, Naruto stated coolly. Yes it is, everyone knows that you wanted to be Hokage, but a clanless failure like you can never do it. Just like you couldn't do the clone. Shaking his head, Naruto held out a hand. Kiba gasped as his whole body froze. First off, I am not clanless, I am an Uzumaki, a cousin clan to the Hyuga, Uchiha Senju, and Kagaya, so you are an idiot. Second, I faked it all, I am an S-class ninja, you idiot. Your sensei is terrified of me, so much so that she won't look at my eyes anymore. Hell, with the exception of the old man, I am the strongest in this room by quite a bit. And lastly, I have more chakra than the Hokage. My chakra levels have been cage level since my 6th birthday, so the clone jutsu is impossible, no cage level or above ninja can do it. So anything else you want me to debunk? Everyone was stunned at this rant, but still some were nodding. Anko, Guy, Orochimaru in disguise, Hinata and Sarutobi were the nodding party. Kiba still had something to say. How the hell are you holding me a loser, and do you expect me to believe that? You are a nobody, a tool, an idiot. Sighing, Naruto answered, yes, I expect you to believe that, and, as for how I am controlling you, well, it has to do with the fact that your body is mostly water. I found a way to control the water in your body from a distance. Like this, for example, Naruto said as he closed his fist before flicking his fingers, and Kiba. Several small spikes of blood burst out of Kiba's body. The boy screamed in pain. Everyone gasped at what Naruto had done. It was so out of character and cruel. And scary, very scary. See Kiba, but that is not all, I can control your body, as well, I call it water style. Blood marionette. With that, Akamaru got up and jumped down to the field. Kiba dropped, then stood up awkwardly. He grabbed a kunai and rushed at his dog. A flash of blood came spraying out as he slashed his dog's side. See Kiba, I can do anything I want. I could make you kill or even rape your mother and sister if I so chose. I'd give up if I were you. Akamaru is losing a lot of blood and I doubt he can survive much longer like this. Kiba snarled at him for a moment before a dead look came across his face. I give up. This was said in a quiet voice. He dropped down along with Akamaru. Naruto picked up the dog and began to heal him. He'll live, but I will be careful with him for a week or so. Kiba nodded before slumping to get healed. Up in the stands, Kurenai, Choji, Hiruzen, and Kakashi looked at Naruto in shock. Where the hell did Naruto get so much power? And cruelty, it was so different from the Naruto they all knew. Even Kakashi, who was well aware of how dark Naruto could be, was shocked at this, his ability was terrifying. It made him shiver in fear, it scared him unlike anything he'd ever felt. Hiruzen's face hardened as he noticed how little concern Naruto had for others. The boy had just tortured someone else and showed no emotion or any sign of repressing the emotions. It scared him. He had to get Jiraiya here to deal with Naruto. Before he became a threat, the boy was gaining far too much power. The ability to take over a person's body like that scared him, it was something Orochimaru would make. He needed to get the boy under his control. Orochimaru was intrigued by this. The skill appealed to him as a scientist. It was a brilliant choice to control the blood of another person. It gave him power over everything about a person's body. He could cause a stroke or heart attack, 7 chakra points or muscles, or even the spine. It was amazing. The boy could probably kill him with that ability, even with his healing. Sasuke was envious. Naruto was so strong, it seemed effortless for the boy when he had to work so hard to get power. He hated that, it was like Itachi and him growing up. No matter what he did, Itachi was above and beyond everyone else. It was emasculating and infuriating. He felt a pulse from his curse mark as his hatred for Naruto grew. Sakura was awed. Her respect for Naruto grew to huge levels. She was extremely smart, so she knew how hard that would be and how much power it gave someone. She wanted to be like that, maybe she should. Yes, she would ask Naruto for training. He could help, Kakashi wouldn't, the man was a shitty teacher. Naruto had gotten strong on his own, hopefully he could help her. It was time she got back on track and was a ninja instead of a fangirl. Everyone else was trying to deal with the change in Naruto. It was so different from what they knew. Some thought it was how Anko, Hinata, and secretly Shikamaru, some were afraid read. Everyone there bar Anko and Hinata, some that it was cool read Anko and Hinata. Either way, they were all shocked. But one thought was in everyone's mind, what the hell happened to Naruto? The last match of importance was R vs Lee. Naruto was rather excited, chuckling when Lee started to exclaim about youth and such. It was funny to him and rather endearing. Before the boy went down, Naruto spoke to Lee. "Lee, you better impress me." Lee smiled, exclaiming, "Oh, I will." Naruto prepared to witness the power of youth. Naruto chuckled. "I don't doubt, Lee, I don't doubt it." The match was amazing. Naruto was truly astounded at how skilled Lee had become in just 1 year. It was truly amazing how skilled Guy was as a teacher and Lee was a student. Unfortunately, Lee was unable to beat the ultimate defense and was about to lose use of his arm and leg when Naruto hopped down. He flared his chakra at Gaara, who shivered and stopped. "Gaara, you won. Don't take his ability to progress. If it was anyone else here, well, aside from Hinata, I wouldn't care. He on the other hand is special and I wish for him to get stronger." But that Naruto turned and placed a hand on Lee's stomach. The boy glowed green as his whole body was healed. Well, mostly. Naruto picked him up and carried him to Guy. "He is fine, however I would take him to the hot spring every day this month and give him body massages. It will help with the pain. Don't practice for the week, then you can, but lightly for the rest of the month. Oh, and give him this when he wakes up." Naruto handed the man a scroll. When Guy opened it, he almost fainted. "How did you figure this out?" Chuckling, Naruto answered. "I want Lee to succeed, so I worked on it until I got it. Simple as that." I smiled at him. Before nodding and then watching the last matches. No one noticed Naruto switching places with a clone and leaving the arena. He knew that Sarutobi would accost him, so this saved him the worry. When his clone burst, it would be to tell him that he was fighting whoever won the fight between Neji and Hinata. But what stood out most was that Sakura and Sasuke were to fight and that Sakura asked him to train her. His clone had told her to meet him at their training ground the next day and to get ready to work her ass off. Naruto knew she would lose, but still it was important for her to gain strength and Sasuke to get knocked around a bit. He could not wait. Naruto flashed into his summons realm. He was on a very special floating island. It was where one of his most hidden and important experiments was occurring. He was forced to duck as a small egg soared over his head. Then he had to dodge several blows to the body by 2 other beings. Naruto sent a wave of electricity at them, then they all burst into puffs of smoke. Turning around, he caught all of the kunai and sent a surge of chakra through them to nullify the explosive tags. He then spiked his chakra, forcing the 4 beings on their knees. "I am impressed by you 4. But you need to work on your speed. Agility is perfect, as is your balance, but your speed is lacking." He received 3 pouts and 1 glare, but he smiled at them. "Now come at me, you will be active during the invasions. I have very special plans for your 4. While Naruto was training his deadly little Kit was underground, making his way to Danzo. He had been preparing for this for a while. If it went right, then he would receive a huge power boost. He would need it for the distant future. As he entered the main office, he walked over to the zombie Danzo and sent a mental order for him to take off his bandages. He placed one hand on the multi-eyed arm and another on Shisui's eye. He took the chakra and he felt a huge rush of power hit his body. So much so that he was thrown against the wall. He convulsed as he felt this body change and shift, trying to incorporate and overcome the incredible power of the first Hokage. His blood felt like it was boiling within him as his body tried to deal with the enormous chakra requirements of the cells. After a fierce mental battle, Naruto won. The chakra was absorbed. He stood shaking. There was a reason why so few people could survive the first Hokage's cells. It required a massive amount of willpower and life force, anything less, and you were consumed. The wood style was not really a bloodline. Anyone, especially the Senju, had the potential for it, but without the massive amounts of physical energy it was not possible. After all, without life a tree can't grow. Naruto did a check of his body and was shocked to realize that he had lost 93% of his chakra. Before he could complain to himself, he felt it, power. His body was recovering at a massive rate. Far beyond what it had previously. Within seconds his chakra was almost full, well at its old level. He could feel his body thrumming with so much strength. It scared him a little. But that was not all he felt. His chakra was also a lot darker. The Uchiha chakra he took in made his eyes so much stronger, more pure. It was truly amazing. Naruto turned and punched the wall, shattering it easily. His strength was so much higher. He would need to retrain restraint and control, it seemed. A very evil grin covered his face. He was so much closer to his goals. He turned and left. Mito was going to train him in wood style, and as such, he was excited. The next morning, Naruto appeared behind Sakura in his team training field. He had plans for her. Reaching out, he grabbed her, and they both flashed red, appearing on a floating island. Sakura, disoriented from the teleporting, spun around and was shocked to see Naruto smirking at her. But that was not the only thing that shocked her. He looked different, a darker tan and an aura of power. Even more than before. "Naruto, where are we?" Naruto chuckled at her. "We are in Visored, him of the visor. It is my summons home, well, part of it. This island is sealed off for our training, as you are a non-summoner. So let's get started. Sakura's jaw was on the ground. This was incredible and awesome. Smiling, she said okay, let's start. Grinning at her enthusiasm, Naruto explained a few things. Now Sakura, well you have strong spiritual chakra, your physical chakra is awful, so we need to work on it, and your body. Taijutsu, and poisons for now, as Genjutsu would be broken with the Sharingan. I think you might be able to win, but I need your absolute devotion. Am I clear? He received a very strong nod. He chuckled and approached her, placing a hand on her forehead. Now well we can't devote the whole day to a workout, I will be putting my version of resistance seals on you. It works the same, but has a healing feature. It takes the residual chakra from your body and heals you, thus you get stronger faster. But in order for it to work you need to eat a lot. Chuckling at her expression, Naruto said now I need you to walk on the lake for an hour, all the while dodging my kunai. She paled at that and shivered before going to the lake. Naruto started to chuck his kunai at her. This would be fun. He could do some good and get a little revenge for the abuse she threw at him in their younger years. For the next month Naruto taught Sakura, his kits, and himself. Mito was very helpful, she had lived with the original wood-style user, so she knew quite a bit. Naruto had discovered that he gained some level of muscle memory or instinct from Hashirama's chakra. So the style was not as hard to learn. Still though it was difficult. Mito also offered a great deal of aid in sealing and taijutsu. Their spars were very fun. His favorite was the three-way spar between him, his mother, and Mito. They destroyed 6 islands. They did repair them, but still, it was scary and fun. Especially as no ninjutsu were used. The last thing that he did was extremely secret, so much so that not even the ones it happened to knew about it. Finally the day came and it was time for the 3rd exam. Naruto and Sakura appeared in a flash of red. This caused a lot of people to jump. Some of the older ninjas shook as they realized who his father was, after all it looked like his old technique. Naruto was pleased with the shivers. Sakura looked much different. First was her body, which had lost a starved look. Next was her hair which was short. Then there were the clothes which now were much tighter to the body. She basically was wearing a tight body shirt and booty shorts. She started after Naruto said that she had a small chest, but a great ass. She felt very good about it after that. The first match was between Hinata and Neji. Naruto nearly giggled at this. He could not wait for the Hyugas to see their so-called failure kick their prodigy's ass. It would be priceless. Hinata stood, waiting for Genma to give her the go. As soon as he did, Neji tried to attack her mentally. He could not say much with her fist in his mouth after all. He went flying from the force of the blow. As he got up he was sent twirling away as Hinata kicked him in the ribs. Hinata did not even bother using the gentle fist or her variation of it. She just beat the ever-loving shit out of him. After a while she got bored and picked him up by his throat. Listen Neji, I am done with you. And our worthless inbred clan. We can't change, we hold grudges and are awful to each other. I disown myself and leave you with this warning, should you ever attack or even glare at me again, I will tear you apart so badly that not even Orochimaru and Tsunade could put you back together. Am I clear? She was flaring an impressive amount of killer intent at this. Several people in the audience, her sister included, nodded with Neji. She then tossed him aside with a look of disgust on her face. Turning to Genma, well, call the match. He sputtered for a moment, then called it winner Hinata Hayu. He stopped when he felt her glare at him. Hinata. As soon as she left the stage he called for the medics. Up in the stands Hiashi was sputtering, how the hell did she beat him so badly? And disowned herself from the clan, now they can't put a seal on her. But what scared him most was the look on her face and her killer intent. It reminded him of his wife. There was a reason he was allowed to marry Hitomi. The woman was a low S-rank ninja, the strongest their clan has ever had. She was not well known outside of the clan, but she was in for years, working with Makoto Uchiha and Kushina Uzumaki as the triple goddess. They together could wipe out a ninja village by themselves. At least until all of the inbreeding of the clan kicked in and she was sickened. She lost a large amount of her power. It seemed Hinata had inherited it. He was terrified, if she ever went for revenge then he would have a fight on his hands. Kurenai who was watching this was shaking. Where did the sweet innocent little girl go? She missed her. The Genjutsu user never saw Anko rolling her eyes at this. As well as the look of pride in her eyes when she looked at Hinata. After they pushed back Sasuke's match, due to being late, it was Temari and Shika, which ended when Shika forfeited. Naruto shook his head at this. Seriously, no one squashed his laziness. It would cost lives, Naruto would ensure that. The next fight was supposed to be Shino versus Kankuro, but after Kankuro forfeited, Sasuke decided to make an appearance. Once again Naruto was not pleased, seriously they were soldiers, being late could cost lives. Sasuke stood, not bothering to get into a stance. He looked at Sakura in disgust. You can't win Sakura, you are nothing while I am an Uchiha. so just quit. Any residual fangirl in Sakura shattered at this. She began to glare at him. Kiss my ass, you inbred motherfucker. Everyone that knew Sakura gasped at this. Sakuya was appalled at her behavior and screamed out, Sakura Haruno, don't you dare take to Lord Uchiha like that. After everyone got their hearing back, Sakura raised a hand and, without looking, flipped off Sakuya. This caused a loud mouth to sputter. Sasuke was not pleased. This weakling trash dared to insult his great clan, she must pay. He rocketed at her, going at nearly speeds. He swung at her, trying to backhand her when she bent backwards. He lost his balance at that. Before he could recover, she shot her foot up, a cloud of dust following it, nailing him in the chin, then punching him in the diaphragm before catapulting herself away. Sasuke sputtered, that hurt a lot. He did not see that coming at all. How the hell did you do that? Sakura began to taunt him. Training for a month with Naruto going at level while wearing resistance seals gets you some skill. But unlike you, he does not rely on his eyes. That's right, without your precious eyes you can't fight for shit, just like the rest of your clan. That's why Itachi killed them so easily, they were weak just like you. Sakura enjoyed the look of loathing and madness in the boy's eyes. He activated his Sharingan, screaming, the Uchiha are the greatest. He charged at her, but no matter what he did she dodged him. Flips, cartwheels, splits, she used her acrobatics to evade him. Every so often she would hit him in random places that seemed to irritate him more. He never noticed the dust that came from her blows. Eventually Sasuke got pissed and ran up one wall, went through some hand signs before a concentrated ball of lighting appeared on his hand. He charged at her, digging a large trench in the wall. Getting angrier as he saw her smile grow. Sakura was very happy. The idiot did not notice it, but the closer he got the less stable his Chidori got. His face was sweaty and even paler than normal. Perfect. Once Sasuke got within 10 feet of her he got dizzy and very quickly it seemed like all of his energy was going away. He began to slow down and stumble. He collapsed just as he reached her. She just stepped to the side, enjoying the look of panic on his face. What did you do, you bitch? Sasuke bellowed her. She approached him and stomped on his wrist. He screamed out in pain. She rolled her eyes. You are barely able to move and you are making rude demands of me? Not very smart, as I have all of the power right now. Now, as for what I did, well. She lifted up her boot, it was covered in a fine white powder. This is a very simple poison Naruto helped me learn to use. It is a fungus that leeches a person's chakra from them. You breathed in a lot when I kicked your jaw. So with the constant use of your Sharingan and subsequent use of the Chidori, which Naruto assured me you would use, you used up all of your chakra. You can't even use the seal, as it requires you to have some chakra of your own to trade. So I guess this means you lose. Sakura looked at Genma, who was smirking, as he really hated arrogance. The man who was named the winner is Sakura Haruno of the Leaf. Loud clapping could be heard from Hinata, Naruto, and Anko. They thoroughly enjoyed the humiliation of Sasuke. Sakura nodded and hurried up to the stands. She looked at Naruto and smiled, their plan worked. You were right, he is completely nuts. Naruto nodded. Yep, he is. Now do you see why I told you that chakra does not make a ninja, but the ability to use any skill you have to demolish your enemies? Even sneaky, underhanded ones. She nodded at him. Yeah, I do, but I want to try everything more. I never realized how evasion is, for poisons, psychological warfare, healing, all of it. I want to learn more. I want to set a standard for civilian borns with little chakra levels and strength. There is so much more we can do. However, I have to ask, why is he so unstable? He is normally very calm and collected, but now he isn't. Sasuke has both an inferiority and superiority complex. He believes he is better than everyone else, but when he loses or is shown up he can't help it and begins to fixate. It is the real reason he hates his brother and me. Sakura shook her head. Well, he is a nutcase, and the council is foolish to let him be a ninja with his instability. Naruto was pleased with this declaration. But what got him most was the change in her mind. His loyalty to the village was almost gone. A deeper look showed that it was due to a mix of his great teaching and the inadequacy of the village. Plus Sasuke's behavior and her aunt Sakuya's attitude helped her decision. Seeing an opportunity, Naruto targeted it and amplified it greatly. He could use a partner for Mito. Maybe he could get one. If he did, then it made things a lot more fun this way. Over with the senseis, Kakashi was gaping. Never did he ever suspect Sakura could beat Sasuke. But she did, using very underhanded methods that most genin did not like. Feeling them cowardly and such. And she trained with Naruto, who he thought hated her. It was so confusing. He was also pissed that Sasuke would use the Chidori on a comrade. Naruto got, as the boy was insanely skilled, but Sakura. It was a disgrace. He had to pull the boy from the dark path he was walking before it was too late. Naruto jumped down to the stage. It was time for his match versus Gaara. He could not wait. After all, it was this match that was the cue for the invasion. He was nearly drooling with anticipation at the thought of all of their faces when he showed his side. It would be beautiful. He was met with the sight of a very battle-horny Gaara. It seemed he knew what was about to happen. Naruto just smiled at him and flared his massive chakra, enjoying the massive cringing of the audience. Several of them, ninjas included, passed out. This was the signal. Everyone on their side got ready. As soon as he was given the go, Naruto turned to the audience, activated his Sharingan, then he snapped his fingers. Feathers began to fall, knocking out most of the audience. All of the awake ninjas looked at him in shock. Then the cage booth exploded, the invasion had started. Naruto launched himself back at the stands, took out his sword, and in one fell strike, sent a huge blade of wind. He laughed as he killed 20 civilians. A nearby saw this and screamed at him. Traitor did not get to finish as Naruto cut his head off. Now, how the hell can I be a traitor when I was never your ally to begin with? Kakashi stood there stunned. He just heard Naruto saying he was never loyal to the village. Then saw him kill several and, along with any sleeping civilian along the way. He had to stop him. He rushed up there, swinging a kunai at Naruto's back. He was shocked when the boy dodged and sent out a leg that shot him flying across the way into the stage walls. As he got up he saw Naruto forged a bunch of clones, 30 according to his Sharingan, and watched as they leapt off into the village. He could hear an increase in screaming as several died at their hands. Naruto jumped back from a swipe of Asuma's knuckle blades. Then dodged a kick from Kurenai. Kurenai growled at him, "You traitorous son of a bitch. We won't let you leave here alive." Naruto just rolled his eyes at this. "I doubt you can really do anything to hurt me, but okay. Bring it." Kurenai went through a flurry of hand signs while Asuma attacked him. She then disappeared in a swirling motion. Naruto laughed at her poor abilities. When a tree appeared around him, binding him, he smiled. When Kurenai put the kunai to his throat he chuckled and said, "I assure you that you will regret this attack." She glared at him and plunged the knife into his throat. Pleased with his death, at least until he faded away and Asuma was in his place. She froze, a look of terror on her face. She began to panic and grabbed Asuma, crying for a moment, then gasped in shock as he burst into ashes. A chuckle made her look up. She saw Naruto holding his stomach laughing while pointing to an unconscious Asuma. Filled with fury she rushed at him, but did not make it 5 steps before she felt extreme pain in her foot. Looking down she realized her feet were pinned down with Asuma's trench knives. She did not feel the pain for long as Naruto looked at her eyes and she blacked out, feeling a large weight on her soul. Naruto chuckled at how easy it had been to beat 2 of the least best jonin. He suddenly raised a hand as if to say something. Kakashi, who had been sneaking up on him, was floating in the air, a look of fury and betrayal on his face. Naruto rolled his eyes and with a flick of his wrist sent him flying at a group of. Moving his fingers he made Kakashi dance, killing several chunin with his new toy. When he was done he squeezed his fit and flicked his fingers out. Blood burst from Kakashi and he collapsed, out cold. Naruto looked up, hearing a large crash from the gate. Then a second from the Hokage monument. It seemed that his plan was going perfectly. At the gate, Jiraiya summoned a large toad to crush the 3-headed snake attacking the gate. A feeling of worry crossed his mind as he looked back to the stadium. He hoped his sensei would be okay. But he did not have time to think as he was suddenly flying extremely fast toward a building. Courtesy of a fist that came out of nowhere. As he recovered from the Tsunade-level blow he was absolutely terrified and stunned to see the scariest person he had ever met, one that he believed to be dead. She was younger than he remembered and her chakra seemed to be a lot stronger. But there was no doubt this was the wife of his dead student and the mother of his godson. This was the Red Death, Kushina Uzumaki. "Kuku Kushina, is that you?" he stuttered as he looked at her. Her face was not angry but instead carried not a single emotion. That is how he knew he was fucked. When she showed anger you would get a beating, but you could survive. This however was the very reason she was called the Red Death. Her killer intent and glare had actually been known to kill any ninja around her. He had seen it a few times in the war. He cowered at the look. "Hello Jiraiya, I hope you have been well. Taking care of my Naruto I hope." "Oh that's right. You left to peek at women and write porn." This was all said with a barrage of sarcasm. But her killer intent was so high that ninjas on both sides were shivering and passing out. The toad he summoned actually poofed away from it. After turning gray and having its eyes go blank of course. Now, Kushina Ii-sensei told me he was okay and happy. He did not get to continue to talk in his shaky voice as Kushina was in his face, her fist in his stomach. He went flying, blood coming from his mouth, and anyone who was still conscious, which was only him and Kushina, heard the sound of many bones breaking as his ribs had shattered. She was at his side in an instant, stomping on his arms and legs. He could not move as he screamed, "Listen to me and listen well. I hate you. You betrayed us. Me, Naruto, and Minato. You deserve a 3-year session with me and Tsunade beating and healing you. But Kid has a plan. Since he brought me back, I have an obligation. Just know that what is about to happen is designed to make the plans go better, and the message goes through. She lifted his battered body up by the throat and sent a surge of chakra into his body, then tossed him at the gates where a large seal appeared. A huge green light appeared. When it faded, all of the soldiers on both sides were gone. Only Jiraiya was left, but he was different. He was completely healed and most shockingly back in his prime. Kushina sighed before turning and disappearing in a flash of red. But the Ashi struck another invader. He was not a happy man. Not only did he have to fight in the invasion, but not a single member of the branch family were around. He would have to punish them all later. His thoughts were interrupted as he turned. What he saw would shock him till the rest of his days. His daughter Hinabi fights nearly as well as most. She had a grace and agility he had never seen in a child. He watched as she killed 13 opponents in seconds. She was a perfect heiress, just as he planned. However, something was very wrong about this scene. She was not fighting sound or sand ninjas. No, she was killing and enjoying it, apparently, if the smile on her face said anything, several, and of the leaf. She looked at him with a crazed look he had only ever seen in the most devoted followers of madmen. He shivered at the sight. Before he could say a word, she was suddenly in a group of Hyugas. They were all elderly, and in seconds all but one was dead at his daughter's hand. A look of terror, betrayal, and agony on their faces. The last alive was his own father. He watched in horror as his daughter took a piece of paper and whacked his father on the forehead. His head flashed green for a moment. When it cleared, his father carried a nightmare of any branch member. A caged bird's seal. Hanabi smiled at the man, then flared her chakra and giggled at the sight of the man screaming in pain as his brains were liquefied. As she stopped, she grabbed him and flashed in a red light. Both were gone. The Ashi was left with a cold feeling. With Iruka was forced to fight yet another sound ninja as he tried to lead his children to safety. But what he noticed was not a single ninja attempted to hurt them. As he, barely, knocked the ninja away, he heard a loud screaming. He turned to see Abisu on the ground screaming with various bones obviously broken. But what scared him was the ninja that caused the damage. Or student ninjas, he should say. Konohamaru, Mogi, and Yuden were looking down at Abisu with looks of absolute glee on their faces. Yuden had a bloody sword that he had clearly stabbed Abisu with. The kids looked up at him, smiled, and took off at immense speed. He would have followed them, but he was set up by other ninjas. The loud sound caught his attention. As he looked up, he was shocked to see the battered remains of the Hokage monument, the faces destroyed in an obvious explosion. A flash of red caught his eyes as he heard a loud vicious laugh from the 3 children traitors. But Sarutobi was shaking with exhaustion as he sealed his students' arms with him. He cursed his older body. If he was in his prime, he would have effortlessly destroyed these shells of his former teachers, instead of being forced to barely seal them away with a small portion of his student. He had barely managed to drive off his student. If he was in his prime, his student would have been dead. A blow to the face interrupted his thoughts as he was sent backwards. He looked up, as was not all that shocked to see Kid in front of him with his hand raised. He was waiting for Kid to get his revenge. "Kid, are you here to kill me?" Kid just laughed at the battered old man. "No, I am here to grant you something you very much want, but not for why you wanted." Kid snapped, and he was surrounded by the bound, awake bodies of the civilian council and several ninjas under his command. Kid was suddenly in his face, a hand on his chest. "I give you back your youth." He glowed green, a white hot pain filled his body. When the light cleared, his body ached and felt tired, but there was something he had not felt in years. Strength, virility, power. It was thrumming through him. He looked around and saw that the council was gone, as were the ninjas under his command. The wave of exhaustion hit his body. He shook for a moment, then blackness took him. No one noticed the seals placed on his body by Kid, nor the chilling laugh Kid was emitting before flashing out in a red light. "Just wait for Hiruzen. You'll see that your youth won't matter much when I take everything from you." But the remaining ninjas. It took several hours and the life of various ninja, but all of the invaders were chased out or eradicated. Whatever happened next, the Leaf may not be ready for it. This invasion took a lot from them. Ara the Jinchuriki had demolished the Uchiha compound, though all of the books and scrolls had disappeared. He had also ruined the Hyuga compound and the Sarutobi compound. Several civilian compounds and homes had been destroyed as well. It would cost them a fortune. But in the end they may get a new ally in Sand. It hurts them to do it, but at their state, it may be the only thing that would keep them afloat. Other than the mysterious restoration of the Hokage and Sanen's youth, what had hurt most of all was that trust was lost, as several betrayals had been uncovered. No more than the Hokage's grandson betraying the village. It would leave a scar in the heart of the village forever. The Hokage had been seen crying by several Anbu. Add that to the possible loss of the Hyuga branch family, over 100 ninjas, and the village was not doing so hot. But one thing united them. The hatred and anger toward Naruto Uzumaki. An unknown compound within the village the day after the invasion. Hinata Hyuga and Anko Mitarashi woke up feeling drowsy and sore. They had no idea where they were or how they got there. The last thing they remembered was the invasion. Taking care of stragglers and then nothing. It was weird. They looked around and saw the unconscious bodies of the missing branch family of the Hyuga. They had not been seen during the invasion. It was thought that they had betrayed the village. Anko walked over to one and went to wake him up. She had questions to ask. She dropped him the moment she turned him over. On his forehead was nothing. The caged bird seal was gone. Sarutobi had his head in his hands, tears rolling down his face as he reviewed his situation. On one hand he and his student were young and in their prime again, they beat back an invasion and survived and the branch Hyugas were freed. On the other his grandson and his friends had betrayed their village, destroying the Hokage mountain and academy. Naruto had done devastating attacks to the entire village and his clones and assaults on Kurenai and Asuma. Kid had slaughtered the civilian council which he did not mind so much. Hanabi had torn apart the Hyuga council and took her grandfather as a slave and so much more shit. What scared him most however was that Kid Uchiha had resurrected Kushina Uzumaki in her prime. She alone had taken out over 300 people on each side. He knew she was stronger than him and Jiraiya combined. And even worse she was pissed at the abuse of Naruto. All of this made him realize just how screwed they were. They needed Swand badly. Her mere presence would amplify their chances of survival by hundreds of times. She could fix up the medical system and her own prowess would help them to survive. It was for this reason he had sent Jiraiya to get her. They would be dead without her. But she hated the village. He could only hope Jiraiya could persuade her to come home. After he thought of how his genin team had acted he sighed and said, "We are so fucked." His head slammed on the desk. But the rookies. I can't fucking believe Naruto would betray the village. This was Kiba. He looked up as he heard 3 snorts. They came from Shino, Hinata, Lee, and Shikamaru. You shouldn't be. Did you see how the village treated him? They deserve all they got. Surprisingly this was Hinata. She looked very annoyed by the whole conversation. Kiba snarled at her. No one deserves what he did. He is a monster. Kiba was pinned to a wall by his throat. Hinata was radiating fury. Listen you insignificant little shit, no one deserves to be abused, assaulted, neglected and insulted every day since they could fucking breathe. That is what Naruto had to go through at the hands of the villagers. So grow the fuck up. She dropped him and in a flash left her shocked fellow rookies. No matter how strong she may have gotten, they would never expect that kind of attitude from her. She always was Naruto's little bitch. Kiba mumbled but was silenced by a surprisingly strong glare at the hands of Shino. Kiba, I would advise against such actions. There are several people much stronger than you who would take great pleasure in killing you for such comments. I am one such person. Shino then left, leaving a gaping Kiba. The other rookies shivered at his voice. It was filled with tightly contained hatred. Shikamaru had not said a word, but still, he was pissed. The signs had always been there, but the world had ignored it. He had ignored it. They all believed he was just a stronger Naruto, not a darker one. He too believed it until he saw the horrible way Naruto tore apart the senseis. He had never seen such brutality. Plus with the look of things it seemed that several others would betray the village. Lee was annoyed. All of the orphans of the village, bar Sasuke, were treated like trash. It was all about family names. Naruto himself had proved that it did not matter as he tore apart the village with a smile on his face. Lee was not angry at Naruto, saddened a little, but not mad. Naruto was not doing it for revenge, but to prove a point. He had to respect that. The rest of the rookies were angry, saddened or such. Well, not Sakura, who was starting to agree with many of Naruto's beliefs as she observed the village. She truly hated it here and was honestly only staying to gain strength till she could leave. Maybe she would head over to Mist, yeah, that would be good. She would take Hinata and Anko, whom she had become friends with lately. Hell, maybe the whole branch family would go to war. She would have to wait. That was very much true. In the hospital was a very angry, whiny, brooding Uchiha. He was sitting in the hospital and had been the moment the battle had started. The shroom Sakura had poisoned him with had really liked the seal, so it took a lot longer to get rid of. He was out until the next day. His whole body hurt, but he was recovering. As soon as he woke up he noticed a package on his bed. He did not know who it was from, but he was extremely angry when he read it. What it was a report on the battle. Naruto, the weakling loser clanless dope, had effortlessly defeated 2 of the sensei and had killed off several others. He at one point had squeezed his fist so hard that he broke his knuckles and tore muscles. He wanted Naruto dead, more than dead. However, one thing he read made him think. It was a note saying that Kabuto, who also turned out to be very strong, worked under Orochimaru. This got him thinking, he really needed a better teacher, maybe Orochimaru would work. He knew the man wanted him in some way, so it was possible. Sasuke decided to stay until he had thought it through. He would be released in an hour, so he would pester Kakashi. What went on from there would decide it from there. You want me to do what? Sakura screeched to Jiraiya. The old man had just asked her a very strange request. I want you to go with me to find and persuade Tsunade to come back to the village. You signed up to practice medicine and were a part of Naruto's team. We are hoping you could help me to get her. I know you signed up for medic classes, she is the greatest medic, so maybe she or Shizune could teach you. He had added the last part in the hopes to persuade the girl. After all, if Naruto had trained her, then she must have something special about her. She gave him a piercing stare. He actually shifted from the weight it seemed to put on his mind. Listen, and listen well, I hate you. You abandoned fucking Godson for porn and to chase your wayward teammate. In my eyes you are the scum of the earth. Jiraiya's head fell at the berating he got. It made his heart hurt. However, his head raised. If you can manage to knock your perving off until we find her, then I will go. But know this, I would kill you if given half a chance. Am I clear? He almost laughed at the thought of her hurting him, but the look she gave him made him weary. She had been trained by Naruto, she might actually have some weight behind that threat. He did not want to find out, so he counted his blessings and nodded with a smile. She sneered at him and said, I will meet you in an hour at the gates. Don't be late and leave your notepad behind. She walked off. Her killer intent reminded him of a love child between Tsunade and Kushina. Very scary, very scary thought. Ag. Orochimaru screamed as the pain in his arms quadrupled. Damn his sensei for this curse on him. Oh, stop belly aching, I am going to pick up the princess, mixed with my seals, we should be able to restore you, so calm the fuck down. Naruto screamed at the white snake. Orochimaru would have killed anyone else to talk to him like that, but he knew better. Especially with Kushina next to her son. To even breathe against the boy would be death. A finger on his brow seemed to radiate peace throughout his body. Before his eyes his skin healed a bit and all that pain subsided. Naruto looked at him and I sealed all of the damage for a bit. We need to go, so behave or I will kill you when I get back. Despite himself, Orochimaru laughed. That boy was something else. He would be the perfect body, but he knew better than to try. He had nowhere near the will of Naruto. Plus Kit and Kushina would horrible destroy him. He watched the boy leave with Kabuto and Kushina. He knew that they would succeed. 3 days later, in a town no one cares about, Sakura Haruno was bashing her head against the wall. Jiraiya was once again perving on some lady who was obviously only interested in his money. Sakura had gone to the room and began to practice the chakra channeling technique Naruto taught her. She missed him a lot. Not romantically, but as a friend. He was a great teacher and she missed that. Now she was stuck with a foolish pervy old tool. She wanted to kill the man. Painfully with a spork. Maybe her new crush Shino could help her with that, all of those bugs sucking on his chakra as she drove further and further into his joints. The screams. She was knocked out of her thoughts by a very sad-looking Jiraiya sulkily coming into the room. I know where home is. Let's go. She smirked at him. She dumped your ass as soon as she got the money, huh? He pouted even further at the dig at his pride. Her smirk deepened as they walked off to go and locate Tsunade. She was excited, as if what Naruto had told her was true, then she would get to watch as Tsunade beat the old fool. It would be great. Naruto was so glad with his spy network. They had been keeping track of the old hand for years. Naruto even bought all of her debt, so she legally owed him. It was great. He was watching her from the wall of the castle while she and Shizune were observing. He had a fun idea, one that Jiraiya would kill for. Plus he would irritate Tsunade, an awesome pastime his mother described to him. The women hated pervs, so in a flash of movement he was behind Tsunade, one hand on her chest, the other on her ass. Hey sexy, what do you say we go for a round or two? This was said in his sexiest voice, addictive chakra flaring. Tsunade was out of breath instantly. She swiftly turned to kill him, but could not see anyone. Turning back around, she was shocked to see someone sitting on the wall. He was no older than 13. A genin at best, or so she thought. Tell me who I am about to crush. She was flaring her killer intent, a huge glare on her face. Naruto chuckled at Wo She-Hulk. You are nowhere near my level, so back off before I have to bend your wrinkled ass over my knee. A huge tick appeared on her face. Kushina was right, this was so much fun. I am a Sanin little boy, it is you who is nowhere near my level. Naruto just smiled at her. I am here to make an offer. I will give you back your lover and brother. In return you will heal a friend of mine, you may know of him. His name is Orochimaru. She glared at him. I would never help that snake. You think I have not heard about what happened to the leaf? I may hate it, but it is still my home. Besides, the dead can't come back, not really. Naruto rolled his eyes. Yeah, the one you abandoned. As for the dead coming back, look behind you. She turned and was stunned to see her old friend Kushina Uzumaki. She could feel the special chakra the women always held. She knew it was her. It has been a long time since Granny Kushina loved to see the tick on the older woman's face. How the hell is this possible? Tsunade had to know a medic. The wonder of seals. My son over there resurrected me a while ago. Back in my 16-year-old body at that. Swan was stunned at this. Maybe the boy was telling the truth. She did not get to answer as Shizune shot her at Naruto, who merely flared his chakra. The needles fell to the ground with an exhausted Shizune. That is not very smart. To attack your betters is never a good idea. Tsunade was shocked at his actions. She knew right away that Kushina's son was extremely powerful. Easily above her level. She did not want to piss off either of them. She was truly afraid of both of them. They reminded her of her grandmother. Nothing had ever scared her more. Can you truly bring them back? Naruto nodded at her. She looked up. Give me a week to think, please. Very well, but teach your student respect or I will not let her live. John and Naruto and Kushina disappeared in a flash of red. Tsunade picked up the barely conscious Shizune and hurried to their room. She hoped she made the right choice. At night, while in a bar with a fully recovered Shizune, Tsunade looked up to see Jiraiya and thought, fuck. Hey, you are looking beautiful tonight. The slug queen rolled her eyes. She hated dealing with this idiot. What are you doing here, Jiraiya? Before the old fool could respond and fuck everything up, Sakura spoke up. The old cage asked us to persuade you to come back to the village. But I have a feeling you have already spoken to my teammate Naruto, am I right? Both Leaf Ninja noticed Shizune shuddered at his name. Well, that's not a good sign. It seems I was right, not surprised. He always seemed to know everything. Jiraiya looked at her in shock and a little fear due to the respect in her voice. That might cause trouble. Whatever he promised you he will fulfill. It is his nature. But either way you should teach me, there are so few competent medics in the village. It annoys me. That got Tsunade's attention and for the rest of the night they spoke of the stupidity of the Leaf and its medics. No one noticed the look of fear and jealousy on Shizune's face as Sakura and her master spoke as equals. In Naruto's summoned world, Naruto was speaking to his minions. It is time for us to get our name out there, so we are sending you guys to the civil war in Mist. They could end up being a huge ally in the ports and will be a huge help. We will go in pairs. You know what they are. Kits, I am sending you guys to defend the civies. This way they will get a look at us. Leave Yuguru alive, he is underage in jutsu by our enemy. He will make a powerful ally. They all smiled at him and nodded. And guys, no mercy, they all gained dark smirks, but none bigger than Yakumo's, who had been introduced the day before. She fit in right away and had made a lifetime friend in Fu. They managed to sync very well. In a large flash of red they were gone. Kid with them as they went to fuck up the world. Naruto smiled as his plan was really going along. No one knew of his affiliation with the group other than his uncle. It was perfect for him, he could fight on 3 fronts. As himself, as Ruto the extremely successful businessman, and as Kit. He was very pleased. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.